welcome to Firebird International Raceway. It's where we kick off the season each and every year with the Lucas Oil Drag Boat Racing Series. It's the Mayfest Drag Boat Festival, presented by Canada Natural Pet Foods. The Pro Mods is what we'll start off with. Ken Stout and Alan Reinhardt here to call all the action for you.
It's a little bit breezy on the lake south of Phoenix. That's another factor in the equation, and that's something all the teams have to deal with. Before we get into round number one of Pro Mods, however, let's take a look at where they qualified. Now remember, 7 seconds is the index. 7:00 is perfect. 7:02, not too bad.
Yeah, not bad at all, and it's pretty close, as you can see, with an 04, an 05, an 05-4. So they all lined up and pretty much in the hunt. So they'll make final adjustments to this. Of course, first round, as you know, Alan, is always very difficult to try and figure out exactly where the air is to dial the boat in. But after that, these guys get deadly.
Mickey Snyder rolled all the way in here from Rio Medina, Texas to kick off the season. And he might be one of the wild cards out here on the West Coast. That's a boat that we don't see at Firebird a whole lot. But he qualified in the number 2 spot, so Ken, it didn't take him long to get used to this place.
And of course, this is typically a different division. This is Division 1 for him, so coming over here trying to pick up some points early on in the season. A 1:77 reaction time gives Terry Kane a big advantage, but unfortunately, his boat breaks early, and the win will go to the other side with Mickey Snyder.
Terry Kane also struggled in qualifying, ended up down on the bottom of their sheet, just never really got in a full pull. So the New Mexico driver made the trek over here and struggled all weekend. Geico takes us side by side. Watch the black boat. On the right, he's out of power pretty early.
Mickey was there for the taking with a 7:32 at 165, but he hangs on for the win, and Terry Boyd is with him.
Mickey, it's always a tough thing right after a long wind delay to be the first guy down the racetrack, but hey, didn't seem to affect you.
No, it didn't. We had set up the boat for windy conditions. We moved the prop back, and we figured we could make a good pass.
Top end better than the bottom end?
No. I would say that the bottom end is much safer than a top end, because that's where the crosswinds, when it passes the bleachers, you got to watch for that crosswind.
Good news is you're moving on to the next round.
Yes, we are. Thank you.
And he's exactly right as we take a look at 2 seasoned veterans here, Vic Esposito and Bob Ginther. Great to see Bob Ginther back in the boat out here. Yeah, you can see actually the tarp there on the starting barge blowing around a little bit. That is also just before the grandstands. But of course, as you leave, not near as much mile per hour. The boat's not up out of the water yet. Past the grandstands, it can get hairy quick.
The grandstands almost give you a little bit of a false sense of security on the first part of the race course because they do block the wind, but about the time the boats are getting up to speed, well, that's when you get out into the breeze, and we've been watching them all weekend long kind of get blown over towards the left side of the lake.
Bob Ginther, you can see that boat leave a lot earlier than Vic Esposito's, and unfortunately for him, he left too early. Vic Esposito picks up the win.
There again, look at Vic Esposito fighting the boat because the wind is trying to blow him to the center line and he's trying to pull it back. Again, mentioned that one was determined by the red light. Let's say we go on board with General Tire looking right down into the injector.
Pretty sweet shot, to say the least. You'll notice the grandstands that we're talking about off to the left side of your screen coming up right there. Solid run for Vic Esposito. He goes to round number 2 and he's with Terry Boyd.
So as soon as Vic Esposito came up to us, he said, there's something wrong with my boat. No matter what I do, it always runs a 710. Is that a good problem or a bad problem?
Well, it'd be a good problem if we were running a 710 class, but that's not the case. Yeah, we played around. We broke a propeller early, so we wasted 2 or 3 of those runs changing propellers. And now it seems like we could add 200 pounds or take away 200 pounds, and the thing runs 700 or a 710. So we're going to stick with it a little bit, keep ironing things out. Maybe we'll be able to come to some sort of happy medium with the thing. It's going to take some good driving, though.
As a former Division 1 champ, I'm sure he has those skills. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll continue on with round 1 of Pro Mod. All right, let's continue on with round 1 action of Pro Mod. A couple of tough competitors coming up here as well. Daryl Kinley and Marty Logan. Great to have Marty Logan back out here as well. Hopefully we'll see him all season long.
You heard Vic Esposito say he wasn't happy because all his boat would run was 710. Well, Daryl Kinley in qualifying, his best was a 724. And being a quarter of a second off of the target is not usually a recipe for longevity.
Yeah, and it's not just a little pick away at it. I mean, you need a pretty good chunk, so that means they've had to make a sizable change here, and Marty Logan is no gimme by any chance. So Marty Logan, who also was not stellar in qualifying, but one of those guys that could step up at any time.
Reaction advantage went to Kinley.
Oh, and Kinley's both moving around a little bit. Actually, both of them moving around a little bit there towards the end, but the win will go to Kinley, and he does it with that quarter-second off pass again. At least it's consistent, if nothing else, but reaction time winning that race.
Geico once again takes a side-by-side. Look at the difference. The outrigger boat on the left side of the screen, that's the yellow machine, all the way in from New Hampshire. And the wind blowing both of them off to the left. Now that's really having a fight to keep it in your lane. As a matter of fact, looked like Marty got one of those buoys down at the end.
We've talked about the wind being a problem here in Phoenix today. It's hot, it's windy. Darrell, you had a little bit of problem about halfway down the track. Boat started to dance a little on you.
Yeah, it was a really good run. We had a good hole shot on Marty, but I had to lift about 1,000 feet because it started drifting toward the left. I was seeing I was about to hit the lights, so I lifted, and it started to bounce a little bit. But this outrigger boat is really stable. It's a little different than most hydroplanes. It's actually got a wider footprint, and it's a little bit more stable, so I felt real safe out there.
And of course, needless to say, with all that rudder in it too, I'm sure the back of that boat was not happy, but he did a good job in keeping it between the buoys. Randy Benson and Sean Reed. Vic Esposito, a former Division I champ. Of course, Sean Reed as well. There's a good look at the boat called Top Secret.
Sean is qualified down at the bottom half of the field, actually in the number 10 spot, but it's not because he couldn't run the number. It's because his pass was faster than that 7-second. He went 6.97, and Ken, as you know, slowing one of these things down is a whole lot easier than trying to speed one up, especially when you're only talking about a couple of hundreds. Especially when your opponent red lights and gives you a free time run.
Yeah, exactly. So Sean will be able to drive that thing through there. Sean with an 077 light, definitely on it there, and then puts an 05 on the board. Not even close to the buoys there. Without a doubt, the best pass we've seen so far in round one.
If he had run that in qualifying, he'd have been in the top 3 instead of number 10. How about on board? You want to know what it's like inside the capsule of one of these things? This is as close as you're going to get without a gold card.
A lot of rudder in that thing already. This shot courtesy of Canada. And again, a lot of rudder to keep that thing between the buoys. Oh yeah, a little more, a little more.
05 at 171 says Sean Reed is back. What brought you back, Sean?
You know, well, I ran 4 years in a row. I took 2010 off in the transition from IHBA to Lucas Oil, and saw a couple interviews, and Texas guys saying the best boats are in Texas. Well, the women might be best in Texas, but no, party's over. Best boats are on the West Coast. I'm here to prove them wrong.
And Sean Reed will get right back to that. Round 2 next for Sean Reed.
It's a tough day of racing for everybody. Not only do they have to face off against their competitors, but they're also dealing with Mother Nature. Stay with us. We'll be right back.